It's time now for a look latest in local news. In the news, the Wayne County Commissioners met Monday evening for their April monthly board meeting, and the Commissioners have voted to approve their architectural firm to head up their Judicial Center project. Administrator Ed Jeffers told the Commissioners that they reached out to 3 firms for bids, and he was recommending the firm SPDG Design Group out of Macon, Georgia. The bid $75,000, which is a budgeted item. Commissioner Ralph Hickox asked what the Commission is getting for their money, and Ed Jeffers had these comments.
Their expertise and experience and feedback from all 5 of y'all and other community leaders and judges. Yes.
Will it include a couple options? I mean, like good, better, best?
I think they are going to give some options. They're not going to be, I mean, there's some what ifs, but I think they're going to ask the options while they're interviewing you and get that input up there and apply that. I'm not here to tell you how they're going to go do and how many options they're going to give you, but they're going to look at everything you give them and what our needs are, and they're going to put it out to you. And you know, from that standpoint, if y'all don't like the way it looks or feels, then we can always go back and adjust it. And I'm sure there are options. So
I'm trying to understand what we're going to get for $79,000.
You're going to get a scope. You're going to get programming. You're going to get a scope and a
What do you
budget.
refer to as program? I'm sorry.
So,
When you say programming, what are you referring to?
it's planning. It's going to be how big of courtrooms, how many courtrooms. Programming is basically understanding what your needs are and what your desires are.
And once again, those comments at Jeffers. Once again, this is the first step in a long process underway. The Judicial Center timeline is in the year 2027. Issue being security, as Superior Court judges have asked that Wayne County begin the process of coming up with the security at the courthouse. And the county also wants to address and preserve the historic downtown courthouse, which is where the new Judicial Center is to be centrally located over the downtown courthouse. Although it was stated at last night's meeting that all options are on the table, during the City of Jesup's retreat, one elected official brought up the possibility of moving the Sheriff's Department in with the City of Jesup Police Department, then using the current building holding the Sheriff's Department into courthouses in a way to save taxpayers' money. So again, all this is in the beginning stages. No final decisions have been reached. The only decision last night by the County Commissioners is to approve a firm to come in and study the issue, ask questions of elected officials and judges, and begin the process of deciding what and where a new judicial complex will be built and when. The question of how to pay for it, the county administrator met with the city commissioners during the city's retreat, talked about the complex and how to pay for it. It was stated the city and county would push for SPLOST 5 and hope citizens will pass the SPLOST for the new judicial complex. County is on record that no money will be spent on the project until the GO bonds at the hospital are paid off. Once again, the projected date sometime in the year 2027, but the process now in motion. Again, we'll continue to follow the story as it develops. Other news from the commissioners' meeting, they approved changes to their health insurance plan, also approved amending the budget by a 3-1 vote with Ralph Hickox voting no. Commissioner McCrae was absent from Monday's meeting. Commission approved the purchase of 3 vehicles for the Sheriff's Department, all Ford F-150s, 2 purchased from Mike Birch Ford, 1 from Woody Folsom. Commissioners transferred a piece of property behind the jail back to the IDA. IDA Director Del Keith on hand stating that 21 acres originally belonged to the IDA, and they deeded it to the county when the county built the jail. But now the IDA needs it back. As Keith says, the IDA working with the company that's set to make a multi-million-dollar expansion. They'll be announced in 4 to 6 weeks. Also last night, the commissioners approved a road survey project in which the company comes in and films the road conditions and prioritizes which roads need resurfacing or repairs. The county has 261 miles of paved roads in the county. Company's fee is $95 per mile. The cost of the project around $24,830. Again, the county approved that Monday night. Finally, under citizen concerns, Pastor Dale Moore on hand addressing unity among the commissioners. Here's what the pastor had to say last night.
I come with you before you with concerns as you noted, unity among the commissioners. Prior to COVID and with all the restrictions that we've had, I've worked over the years diligently in trying to get other citizens to come out and attend meetings, not only here at the county, the city, and other entities within the county, to get involved. And one of the main things that feedback that I was getting from them is that all they do at the county is just argue back and forth with each other. They don't get anything done. You go up there and they just arguing back and forth. And I understand that, but I tell them we still need to come out and support the elected officials, whether they stay, whether you voted for them or not. I can say that I was surprised at the last county meeting because I did see a spirit of unity look like it was starting to evolve among the commissioners, among you all. And I applaud that, and I just ask that you continue in that fashion, because whether you know it or not, sitting on the outside, looking in, and when folks are viewing this on Facebook or whatever, and being recorded on the radio and things of that nature, and in the newspaper, your actions reflect what goes on in this community. You know, it has a great impact on what businesses and things, as we know we need to come in to bring in revenue in here, makes a great impact on whether or not they want to come or not, if there's not unity among you all, the elected officials. And so I just put that out there to you, because you have a great impact. I understand that you have different districts that you represent and everything, but you know, I put 30 years in the military. And in that leadership position in the military, as a sergeant major, as a first sergeant and stuff, as a platoon sergeant, when a squad leader would come up to me and say, hey, I want to do this in the platoon, as the platoon sergeant, I have to stop and say, okay, how does that affect your squad? And then how does that affect the whole platoon as a whole? And if what you want to do is just going to affect you, your squad, and not the whole platoon as a whole, then we don't need to do that, because it's a platoon, it's not just a squad. And so I say to you all, elected officials, I understand that you represent your different districts, but if the decisions that you make not only affect those that's within the district that you represent, it affects the county, it affects the city, and it affects the school system. And so I just ask that you take a look at that. And like I said, on what I saw on last meeting, it was great. And I just pray that continue in what you're doing and working together, because it reflects on the outside, not just on the inside. And so in closing, and I thank you for this time, I just ask that as we look in the Word of God in the book of Romans, where it says, as much as lies within you, live peacefully with all men. And that's everybody. That's everybody. Just everybody. Thank you.
And once again, those comments of Pastor Dale Moore at Monday's County Commissioners meeting, and that's a look at Monday's meeting. We'll be back with more news after this word from our sponsor, the commercial messages, so please stay tuned. Jesup City Commissioners meet tonight at 7 p.m. at the Cracker Orleans Community Center. On their agenda, Dale Moore on the agenda of the City Commission. Also, discussion of temporary staffing service for the Water Department with Water Department Supervisor Anthony Crawford and Wastewater Treatment Plant Supervisor Patrick Martin on hand. Also, a resolution for an annexation of IDA property with City Attorney Michael Connor. Also, an executive session discuss a legal matter, items with the city manager, items with the commissioners, items with the mayor, all that tonight at 7 p.m. Congressman Buddy Carter slamming MLB for the All-Star Game move out of Atlanta. Congressman Carter says, quote, the MLB is absolutely pathetic. Organization is completely caved to the lies of the left, and America's pastime has now become a political tool for the liberal mob. Let's be clear, Georgia will be losing potentially hundreds of millions of dollars because Democrats, including the President of the United States, have been spreading lies about Georgia's Election Integrity Act. Georgians have a deep love for the sport, but this move by MLB is an attack on both our state and on free and fair elections. Georgia can fight back with their pocketbooks just as I'll be fighting back in Congress. Again, those comments of Congressman Buddy Carter. The school system, again, releases their COVID statistics for each week. This for the week of March 29th through April 2nd, as they're out this week for spring break. They've only had, during the week of March 29th through April 2nd, they only had one weekly positive COVID test from a Wayne County High School student. 22 had to be quarantined for possible exposure. They had 4 weekly positive cases among employees, and 1 had to be quarantined for possible exposure. Again, those are the stats from March 29th through April the 2nd. Each year, the Chamber hosts a cookout for the elected officials and the opportunity to say thank you for all they do for the community. This year's event is scheduled for Thursday, April 22nd at 6 p.m. Going to take place at the Wayne County Farmers Market. They asked that the local elected officials mark that date on their calendar. Again, the date, Thursday, April 22nd. April 17th is the Altamar River Run and the canoe and kayak excursion on the Altamar River. There are 2 different paddles. 11-mile paddle takes out at Pig Farm Landing, and the 16-mile paddle takes out at JC Landing. Registration $10 per paddler prior to the event, $15 on the day of the event. Children 10 under paddle for free with a registered adult. Altamar River Expeditions has canoe and kayak rentals for $45 each. Contact them at 294-3604. And you register at the Jesup Train Depot or the Tourism Board website, waynetourism.com. Again, shuttles will be available from takeout points that Saturday, leaving J.C. Landing at 8 a.m. and Oakthorpe Landing at 8:15 a.m. If you need more information, contact the Wayne County Board of Tourism office. And the Wayne County Chamber of Commerce gearing up for their luncheon to announce the Page Star Student and Star Teacher of the Year. It's presented by Rainier Advanced Materials, sponsored by Georgia Power and Marshland Credit Union. It takes place Tuesday, April 20th from 11:30 to 1 p.m. at the Pine Forest Country Club. Buffet lines open at 11:30. Program starts at 12 noon. Guest speakers on the program, Principal and Director of Solid Rock Christian Academy, Sherry Bowen, Wayne County School Superintendent Dr. Sean Kelly, and Coastal Pines Technical College President Dr. Lonnie Roberts. 25 early bird special up until Wednesday, April 14th, and $35 for non-members and walk-ins after Wednesday, April 14th. You can call the Chamber for a ticket. Again, the number 427-2028. We'll be back with the final news note after this word from our sponsor, other commercial messages, so please stay tuned. Finally, in the news, Pastor Ron Wilcox passed away on Sunday at the age of 80. Ron spent 25 years as pastor of Trinity Baptist Church in Jesup and ministered via Facebook during the pandemic. Celebration of Ron's life is going to be held this Saturday, April 10th at 2 p.m. at Calvary Baptist Church with Brethren Durwood Miller, Brethren Lynn Harris, and Dr. Joshua Stone officiating. Family will receive friends an hour prior to the service at the church on Saturday. Private burial will be held in the Philadelphia Baptist Church Cemetery in Hazelhurst. In lieu of flowers, the family requested donations be made to Trinity Baptist Church, 2061 Spring Grove Road, Jesup, GA 31545. Reinhardt and Sons Funeral Home in charge of all the arrangements. Again, Ron Wilcox passing away at the age of 80 on Easter morning. That's going to do it for latest in local news. Sports comes your way in a few minutes. Bob Morgan saying have a great day.